Coming up on AC 24/7, promises are being made in Ohio as cleanup continues and investigation gets underway. What we're learning about the warning that may have been missed ahead of the toxic derailment. Plus, the White House lays out its plans to increase home ownership and create financial security for families. And he was accused of threatening a U.S. member of Congress repeatedly on January 6th. The sentence handed down in court for this Capitol rioter. Hey there, welcome to AC 24/7. I'm your host, Lamar Baldwin. A massive cleanup effort continues in the wake of the Norfolk Southern derailment in Ohio nearly 3 weeks ago. The Biden administration is promising to make Norfolk Southern fully pay for all the cleanup. The Advocate Channel's Miguel Marquez reports.
A massive effort underway to clean up creeks and water flowing in and around East Palestine, Ohio.
It is decimating our businesses.
It's dirty, difficult, and slow-going work. For those living here, building trust that the water and air is safe, as slow-going as the cleanup itself.
It took, I think, Norfolk Southern 3 days, 4 days for us to get a partial list. Vinyl chloride, butyl acrylate, and benzene residue, and combustible liquids. What the hell are combustible liquids? You know, it could be anything.
The makings of this disaster appears to have started somewhere between Alliance, Ohio, and the derailment in East Palestine. Surveillance video of the train in Alliance shows no signs of sparks coming from its wheels. There is a detector in Sebring, Ohio, that would indicate overheat, a so-called hot box detector. It's unclear if it detected any overheat, but in Salem, Ohio, just 13 miles further along, surveillance video clearly shows sparks and bright lights coming from under a rail car at about the halfway point of the train. There is another hot box detector just down the track from where the surveillance video was taken, but it's not clear if it detected an overheat either. If it did, both the conductor and dispatcher would have been alerted to a heating issue. The NTSB said shortly before the derailment, a wayside defect detector alerted the crew to a mechanical issue. CNN estimates, based on the timestamps of the surveillance videos and distances between towns the train would have been traveling, an average of 49 miles per hour between Alliance and Salem, Ohio, then slowed to an average of 29 miles per hour between Salem and East Palestine. Still not clear why it slowed. The derailment occurred around 8:55 p.m., shortly after the train passed Market Street in downtown East Palestine. The EPA now ordering Norfolk Southern to pay for and clean up the entire disaster zone.
They have to put together a work plan that's going to be very prescriptive in terms of all of the cleanup, how they will do it, and the radius of that cleanup. They also have to explain to us, how they'll pay for it.
All of this as former President Trump visits East Palestine, an area of Ohio where he still enjoys enormous support.
The White House is trying to make home ownership easier for first-time buyers. The plan would lower annual mortgage premiums on loans backed by the Federal Housing Administration. The annual premiums will drop to 0.55%. That drop can help about 850,000 home buyers. It applies primarily to low and middle income buyers who take out HUD loans when they're typically more expensive than conventional loans.
A home represents financial security, the opportunity to build wealth and equity that can help put your child through college, afford retirement, create intergenerational wealth within your family.
A Capitol rioter who tweeted a threat to Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will spend more than 3 years in prison. The 36-year-old Garrett Miller pleaded guilty in December to assaulting police officers at the Capitol and threatening AOC on Twitter. He was arrested weeks after the riot while wearing a t-shirt that said, "I was there, Washington, D.C., January 6, 2021. According to court documents, Miller bought a rope, a grappling hook, and a mouth guard with him to Washington. Prosecutors say he was detained twice during the riot. They say after leaving the Capitol building, he went on Twitter and responded to an AOC tweet with "Assassinate AOC." Some parts of the country are in the midst of a massive winter storm, while other areas are experiencing a summer-like heat wave. More than 138 cities across the country could set new records for daily and monthly high temperatures this week. According to NOAA, about 35 to 40% of the Great Lakes could be covered in ice right now. But as of last week, only 7% of the 5 freshwater lakes were covered in ice. As for crops, plants are blooming earlier, but that leaves fruits and flowers vulnerable to spring freezes, which could disrupt and damage their plant cycle. New mom Kylie Jenner is opening up about her struggles with postpartum depression after the birth of her son and daughter. In an interview with Vanity Fair, the reality TV star revealed she suffered from postpartum depression. Jenner advised new moms and those with postpartum depression not to, quote, overthink things. She said they should live all of the emotions of that moment to the fullest, even if it's painful. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of Women's Health says 1 in 9 new mothers experience postpartum depression. According to the CDC, around 70% of adults are struggling with obesity. Some are now turning to drugs used to manage their diabetes in order to drop weight. The Advocate Channel's Mandy Gaither has more on the Ozemic weight loss trend.
In the struggle to shed pounds, it's a trend that's gained popularity on social media. Drugs first approved to treat diabetes, now helping some who are overweight or obese.
All of these drugs cause significant weight loss.
Endocrinologist Kathleen Dungan with Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center says semaglutide has gotten the most press recently. The FDA approved it for the management of diabetes in 2017 under the brand name Ozempic and for weight loss as Wegovy in 2021, but with some downsides.
Yes, side effects are relatively common with this class of medications. In particular, we see gastrointestinal side effects like nausea, vomiting. We can see diarrhea or constipation.
Dungan says for some, those side effects can be managed by starting on a low dose and dietary changes. For others, those effects may be too much. Because of its popularity, both Ozempic and Wegovy are on the FDA's list of drug shortages, making it harder for some who take it for diabetes to fill a prescription. To maintain the weight loss, Dungan says a patient has to stay on it.
We really only have data up to a few years past the initiation of the drug. So beyond that, we don't know really how, effective they are.
She says it's also important to focus on lifestyle changes like exercise and healthy eating. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Thursday, February 23rd marks 3 years since the murder of Ahmaud Arbery at the hands of 3 white men. Arbery was jogging in a neighborhood in Brunswick, Georgia, when 3 men in pickup trucks approached him from behind, chased him, and shot him. One of the men recorded the attack, but no charges were filed for 2 months after his death. All 3 men were convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. In Georgia, February 23rd will always be Ahmaud Arbery Day. Arbery's death inspired Georgia's first hate crime laws. We are celebrating Black History Month. Today we want to celebrate trailblazer and LGBTQ icon, Marsha P. Johnson. Johnson was a Black transgender woman who led the Stonewall riots in the 1960s and 70s. Marsha was also the founder of STAR, Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, which supported homeless gay and transgender individuals. The Marsha P. Johnson Foundation, quote, protects and defends the human rights of Black transgender people. Marsha was a visionary and one of the biggest transgender activists in history. Thank you for joining us for AC 24/7. For more content that advocates to you, go to advocatechannel.com and make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For the Advocate Channel, I'm Lamont Baldwin.